Now, I'm sure you've heard doom and gloom boomers coming out here trying to express their and explode their wet dreams on top of everyone, telling us that the recession is coming and no more money will be printed and there is no chance that we're going to get another dollar of liquidity coming in the next decade and a half, and everything's going to burn because this is what's going to happen, just like they did in 2008, 2020 as well. I'm sure you've all heard that, right? And I want to, at this point, imagine that they're correct. I want for everyone, you and I, to sit here and imagine that they are correct. They are going around telling people that we have $900 trillion of capital that is reliant on inflation, and it's just going to stop inflating tomorrow. It's just going to finish. No more inflation, no more dollars printed, not a single dollar printed for the next decade and a half. Decade and a half. I want to imagine that they're going around telling everyone this, and I want to imagine that it's true, right? Remember, they're using fear-mongering tactics because I don't know whether they understand the market or not. I don't know whether they truly believe this or not, but they're using it in order to sell the idea that everything's going to collapse, which is also why it's very important that you subscribe to this channel, because the faster you subscribe, the faster people and YouTube really realizes that this is the message that they need to put in front of people so they stop people getting screwed over by these doom and gloom boomers. So please subscribe to the channel, because it's important that while we accept that these doom and gloom boomers might be right for the thought experiment here, it's not realistic to assume that $900 trillion of capital is going to stop being inflated away all of a sudden. Right? So again, let's have a look at what they're saying. They're saying that no more money is printed. It means that the absolute death moment for an inflationary system is here. It means that, not a single dollar more is printed for the next decade or decade and a half. Let's accept that they're right. Let's accept that them in their delusions are correct. That is going to happen. No more money is going to be printed. The whole system is just going to lie there and collapse. We're going to finally get a president who says, guys, we can't print any more money because I don't have the option to kick the can down the road like every president has. Let's assume that they'll take that option. Well, we also have to acknowledge some facts around Bitcoin. While we accept that they might be right, we also have to accept the actual facts around Bitcoin, which is that Bitcoin adoption continues to grow, that institutional adoption continues to grow, that nation-state adoption continues to grow, and let's accept the real fact that over the next decade, Bitcoin will become more and more essential as the future gets built on top of Bitcoin. Let's also accept the fact that it's a matter of time before we get an ETF demand shock. Let's accept their lies about how the system works. And let's accept the reality of what's going on with Bitcoin. Because in order for them to say that the entire world will collapse and Bitcoin can only go up if there's liquidity, this is what they say. Bitcoin will only go up if money is printed. Okay, let's take that as reality. We also have to acknowledge the demand side that's going on with Bitcoin and the fact that the demand side of Bitcoin continues to go up. Right? ETF, nation state, institutional, corporations, retirement funds, etc., all coming to Bitcoin. You got Larry Fink on TV talking about Bitcoin. You think adoption is going to slow down? Let's assume that not $1 is printed. Do you think adoption is going to slow down? So now you have a $900 trillion melting ice cube of people like my parents who have put $330 trillion of that is in real estate, with people like my parents who have a bunch of their net worth, the majority of their net worth, in this melting ice cube that they need to fix the problem of, and Larry Fink is on TV talking about how Bitcoin might be the solution for that. You think they're not going to take a little bit of money out of real estate and put it into Bitcoin? I don't care whether another dollar is printed or not. Let's assume that Bitcoin could very comfortably, out of this $900 trillion empire of shit money, can extract $1 trillion of value from the existing liquidity in the market over the next 10 years, 15 years. Well, based on the bearish 20-to-1 multiple, or the Bank of America bull market multiple of 118 to 1, that could yield a Bitcoin market cap of $20 trillion to $118 trillion without a single dollar more being printed, with every doom and gloom boomer's wet dream coming true on all of our faces. This means that you're looking at a Bitcoin price of $1 million to $5 million per coin while no money gets printed and credit contracts. And doom and gloom boomers, for the first time in eternity, are absolutely correct on everything, which they never are. But let's assume they are. If you think Bitcoin adoption will slow when you've got the former CEO of PayPal coming out and saying that we can transact international currencies on the Bitcoin layers, something that Jack Mollers from Strike has already proven, built out. It's actually out there. It's a $7 trillion daily Forex market. If you think Bitcoin adoption will slow, that's a different question. But if you think Bitcoin's going to go down because credit is going to slow, you're a moron. You're a $1,000 net worth listening to doom and gloom boomers who are enjoying their wet dreams all over your face, because that's a stupid thing to believe. Because Bitcoin adoption is going up. Bitcoin usage is going up. Corporations are coming in and taking Bitcoin and making their corporation easier, more efficient because of Bitcoin. So when you're holding this $900 trillion ice cube and it's melting in your hands and Bitcoin is an option, I'm easily going to take a piece of that ice cube and going to put it into Bitcoin. I don't need a single dollar more to be printed for Bitcoin to have the huge market cap expansion. Bitcoin is not simply going up because dollars are being printed. Yes, dollars being printed does add to the value of risk assets going up. But Bitcoin's got an adoption curve in addition to its response to the liquidity curve. So remember, when these doom and gloom boomers are talking about, oh, no more money is going to be printed. Oh, we're going to see a credit contraction. Oh, the recession is coming. Oh, all this other shit. They don't understand the game of what's going on here. Bitcoin is emerging as a tool for the system to use, and for normal people like you and us, you and I, to use to protect the legacy that we want to protect. And if $0 are printed into the next 10 years, it's still valuable. And therefore, the price will still go up because its supply cannot be messed with. A single dollar not being printed cannot affect the fact that Bitcoin supply goes down by half every 4 years. It cannot affect that the cat and the genie is out of the bag. Wake up. Stop listening to doom and gloom boomers and wake the fuck up, because this is one chance to acquire this asset. And it's not going to slow down because there's a credit contraction. Right? Because with other assets, when there's a credit contraction, they start issuing permits to build property. They start issuing permits to mine gold. They start issuing things and directives to stimulate supply. You cannot do that with Bitcoin. Supply is going to contract no matter what happens to the credit markets. Seriously, wake up to what's really going on here. This is not your usual asset. Stop listening to doom and gloom boomers and stop getting suckered in to their wet dreams of destruction. Because despite any of their wet dreams of destruction, sounds pretty mysterious there. Despite any of that, Bitcoin adoption continues to grow, and there are still only 3 rules to Bitcoin. Step number 1, you buy Bitcoin. Step number 2, you shut the fuck up. And step number 3, you get fabulously wealthy.